Hey, we made it over 300 subscribers. We're still getting started, but I appreciate everyone that has come in here and gotten started with me on this channel.
Looks like you could use some help.
Well, me and the audio clip demon.
So, what do you think?
I think we ought to get started with the rest of this video. Who do you have ready for me, boss?
When we look at the most profound question of life, does God exist? We'll find evidences that show us God is real. Let's look at 6 proofs that show God exists.
Perfect. And a perfect name, too. Kyle Butt. Well, he does talk out of his ass. Kyle Butt. Can I call you Mr. Butt? I'll call you Mr. Butt. So, Mr. Butt is a young earth creationist that would benefit very well from the Monday show. He's a Christian, book writer, preacher, debates religion, and I'm trying really hard not to make too many jokes about his name and save it for his arguments. I'm looking forward to this one. It's been a while since I took on a decent argument.
Take that, depression!
Exactly. ACD, let's go for round 1.
Number 1, the universe must have a cause. The most fundamental law of science is the law of cause and effect. And it says that for every material effect we see, there is a cause that came before it or was simultaneous to it, and that is greater than it.
Okay, this is just the Kalam cosmological argument that everything that begins to exist has a cause, the universe began to exist, that the universe has a cause. We did this with William Lane Craig, but I'll instead answer this slightly differently and come out with a different approach.
Alrighty then.
What is the universe? The universe can be defined in layman's terms as all the energy in the cosmos. The cosmos is just the empty space the universe fills. The cosmos is nothingness. As the universe pushes out and expands, the cosmos expands. It sounds silly to explain it this way, but in essence, that's what you have. So the Big Bang happened and the universe expanded. But before the Big Bang, the universe was still there, existing infinitely in the past. It had been there for it to expand. What caused it to expand, no one really knows, but I think it was a fluctuation of reality at the quantum level. The same thing that causes black holes to radiate material, and whoosh, the universe gets bigger really freaking fast. The main takeaway from this is no God needed for this cause and effect relationship.
Proof number 2, design demands a designer. It is a truism that everybody recognizes that this universe looks designed. In fact, when we see the various different aspects of nature, and we see birds and squirrels and trees, and we see all of the things that they do so well, many times we as humans, we try to copy and mimic that design, but often we don't do nearly as well as the design that we see in nature, because this universe exhibits design from the starry sky at night to the fingertips on your hand. The design is overwhelming. It's everywhere. Where does design originate? Well, what you and I both know is that when you see things that function and they're complex, that design comes from an intelligent designer. The design we see in the universe demands a supernatural, intelligent designer.
So I had ACD over-edit that clip. It was well over a minute long because of all the gaps in his speech. I have to do the same to Kent Hovind, but I wanted to show how an audio clip that was 1 minute and 10 seconds unedited can be brought down to less than 50 seconds. That's 20 seconds of dead space and drawn-out words that just make him sound pretentious. Let me jump off my soapbox now.
Let's do this.
So this is the argument from intelligent design. We addressed this already once with William Lane Craig again. So we'll go over this in short.
This is going to be very entertaining.
Nothing about the universe is designed by anyone. If it were, this would be a pretty shitty design. Our eyes see upside down and need our brains to fix it so it makes sense for us. Our bodies have redundant code to make our entire body and each cell, no matter which ones they are. The planet is actively trying to kill humans at a constant basis with earthquakes, tidal waves, volcanoes, drought, and tons of other things in the planet, like animals, that can kill us just by so much as touching our skin. We can't exist anywhere else in the universe because we have adapted or evolved for the diseases and bacteria found here on this planet, and new diseases would easily just kill us outright unless we somehow found a way to terraform a planet to be exactly like ours. We have built up an immunity to the things here that would be deadly to aliens that could potentially visit. And let's just say that there are no aliens. Every world out there would have to be lifeless, so life could not evolve. But if the universe is lifeless, it can't be designed for us to exist and when we are so close to space travel. So with that logic, is there life on other worlds and the Bible is false because God created only us here? Or is there no life on other planets and God didn't design the universe for when we leave this planet to explore the galaxy? Either scenario is a problem for intelligent design.
Touché.
Next clip, please.
Of course, sir.
Proof number 3. Life demands a supernatural life giver. You see, in the material world, we have come to understand that there is a law of biology called the law of biogenesis. Law of biogenesis simply says this, that in this material, natural world, life comes from previously existing life of its own kind.
Stop! Wait, I have to address that. It's new for this channel. Sorry, I get excited when people have new topics. So, yes, there is a law of biogenesis. He is a bit misleading with it, however. The law of biogenesis is not that abiogenesis isn't a thing. It is a thing. But that the law of biogenesis refers to complex life. In the past years and centuries ago, it was thought that complex life like rats, flies, and other things could emerge from things that are dead. This was tested a few times, and the idea of complex life from inorganics was once falsely proven correct. Later, thankfully, we understood the flaws in that experiment and got the right answer. Now, what theists like to point out here is that it's biogenesis, and thus all life must come from something alive, and will assert that abiogenesis is wrong because of this law. That is untrue. To quote Biology Online, the biogenesis law states unequivocally that life creates life, and life can only come from pre-existing life or other living things, and not from a non-life. This is closely linked to the theory of evolution. However, it does not explicitly address the question of the origin of life or how life began. Rather, it focuses on the continuation and the propagation of life once it has emerged. The very primitive life on Earth was not as structurally complex as modern life is. Thus, the contemporary context of abiogenesis could explain how such a transition from prebiotic world characterized by non-living molecules and chemical reactions into a biotic world where living organisms of increasing complex molecules abound could have occurred billions of years ago. Or to put it in simple terms, the law of biogenesis is how life continues, and the theory of abiogenesis is how life started from inorganic materials, changing into organic materials, and starting simple life that evolved into complex life, where the law of biogenesis now comes into play. Just listen.
Now, when we look at how people used to think about life, they said, no, life can arise spontaneously from non-living chemicals. And yet every single biological experiment has shown us that that simply is biologically impossible. Life doesn't arise from non-living chemicals. From where did life arise?
See, just ignoring abiogenesis, the Miller-Urey experiments, the hundreds of experiments since then, and more. He finds his one thing he thinks is a defeater and says whatever he thinks it means and not what it actually means. This is the dishonesty of these apologists that make these videos and think they are the shiznit.
Ooh, drama.
Damn right, don't bring it if you can't handle it. Next one's a little bit of a short one.
Proof number 4. Moral law demands a moral law giver.
We've done morality twice. Moral laws don't exist. Morality is subjective by nature. Even if morality came from a celestial version of My Little Pony, friendship would only be magic if we like the other person first, and it would be the Thunder God Pony's personal opinion on what they think is right or wrong, and that makes it subjective to Thunder God Pony.
Holy shit!
Yes, objective morality is wholly bullshit. Next.
Proof number 5, free will exists. The atheistic idea that there is no God is founded on the idea of materialism, the idea that this material world is all that there is, all that there was, and all that there ever will be. Because of that, atheism has to suggest that you as a person don't really have free will, that there is no being inside of your body or brain that is super matter. That really what's going on in your brain is just electrons bouncing around, and you're the product of those bounces, and you don't really make decisions on your own. It's just the physical laws and properties going on in your brain. There has to be a God if there is free will.
And everything you say just pisses me off.
Yeah, I agree. Atheists don't have free will. That is just a stupid thought. Of course we have free will. Just because our decisions are neurons and neural connections firing doesn't mean we are just robots. Yes, we can be influenced by our surroundings, but we still have new ideas that come from no influence whatsoever. In fact, on the contrary, it's the Christian worldview that has no free will at all. With everything predetermined by God at the time of creation, that means the Christian's decisions are a direct product of God's divine plan, putting everything in place the way He wants them put in place. And that position is biblical according to Ephesians chapter 1. In verse 4 and 5, the Bible states, "For He chose us in Him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in His sight. In love He predestined us for adoption to sonship through Jesus Christ, in accordance with His pleasure and will." Predestination is talking about Christians' actions being chosen for them. Free will is not evidence for God, it's evidence the God of the Bible is false. Go ahead and say no, and then keep reading. Verse 11 reads, "In Him we are also chosen, having been predestined according to the plan of Him who works everything in conformity to the purpose of His will."
That's kinda hot.
God damn it, ACD. We were having such a nice video too.
Take a joke, asshole.
Remember, I can replace you.
Oh, I'm the only one that matters.
Easily replace you.
No other demon can compare to the likes of I.
Just get on with his last point, please.
And proof number 6, human reasoning. You see, we reason on a regular basis. We understand abstract ideas. If we were products of blind, chance, random processes over multiplied millions of years, reasoning and the laws of reasoning simply would have no explanation. And yet we reason together on a regular basis. From where does reason arise? It's got no naturalistic, atheistic explanation.
Ah, but Kyle, maybe I should have said, Kyle, but. Humans are not the only creatures on the planet with reasoning. Pavlov's dog understood that the bell meant food. Animals can perform complex math in their heads, in just so much as chasing prey. They deduce the speed, angle, and understand where to take down the prey. Prey species recognize and understand that certain plants are not good to eat. My dog wanted to try what I was eating one day, and it was something really, really spicy. I wanted to teach her how to watch out for things that would cause her harm if she ate it accidentally, so I allowed her to try a tiny bit of the heat. When it made her uncomfortable, she tried it again to make sure, but she sniffed it first. Third time it was offered, nope. She reasoned and knew that the smell of the capsaicin was not something she wanted. She won't eat anything spicy anymore. And if she is begging, all I have to do is show her it's spicy, and she stops asking for handouts.
Wow, I feel so loved here.
You're not my dog, ACD.
Sorry.
You're fine. Anyway, because humans and all the other animals on the planet can use reason, does that mean we're all in equal status to a tiny snail that knows better than to walk on the salt. Reasoning is a product of evolution and is simply taking in one's experience to learn. Just because we can retain knowledge and use it doesn't mean a deity exists. When the first life was able to recall the difference between food and not food, their chances of survivability increased extensively, and that trait was passed through the population. The more those creatures were able to retain information, the greater and greater the chance they could continue and survive and spread that trait throughout the population. Thus, reasoning didn't need to come from any deity. It is more likely, judging by the overwhelming evidence of evolution, that we should look to human evolution to see if there is a solution there for the traits that we share. Morality and reason are two things that we can see as a product of evolution, since both of these are major aids in species survivability. Now, Mr. Butt's video ends here. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a good guy. I just don't think he's really understands his arguments. What do you think, ACD?
I like big butts.
ACD, don't do it.
Big old butt.
Please stop.
Everybody's got a bum.
Is nothing sacred?
Bubble butt. Bubble butt.
Guess not. We're getting out of hand. We're getting out of here before.
I'm all about that bass, about that bass.
That didn't even say butt.
But please don't lose that butt.
That's it. That's it. I am Corsi, and this is the Fluffy Atheist. Pet those like and subscribe buttons. Show this to a friend to share a funny video or to point and laugh. I'm good either way. Are you done?
Bye.